Hey, what up, bitches? Welcome back to the Timeless Gamer Show, where our games and our bodies may grow out of date, but our gaming experiences will forever remain. Hey, it's timeless. And we are now live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And you can still check out our previous episodes by going to our website, timelessgamers.com, or just going to the YouTube channel, Timeless Gamers Show. And you can still listen to us talk by going to your favorite audio streaming platforms out there. You know what to do. And we'd like to take this opportunity to thank BitMap Books and Streamyard for making us their official affiliate. And of course, a quick shout out to our Retromancy friends, Studio.ph and Shuffle Emporium, Sega Mega Masters podcast, and the Retro Gamers Connectors of the Philippines as well. So, previously on the Timeless Gamers Show, we discussed a few of our notable mobile games, specifically Android, specifically for the Android and iOS, and a few Symbian games here and there. All right. And if you are curious on our picks, you can check the previous episode. You know where to go. And for this episode, rather, we it's another movie review, video game related movie review called Final Fantasy Spirits Within. And this topic has been brought to us by Sir Jose, right, Czar? Okay. So before we head to that, we will just talk about some gaming news. We're not going to do our usual show and tell for the meantime. The gaming awards 2024 just happened a few days ago. All right. And any takeaways, gentlemen and gentle lady, about the awards?
All right. As somebody who was there, who semi-captained the special Timeless Gamer episode of the reaction stream for the Gamer Awards, it was surprisingly interesting. Yeah, I mean, I like how they interspersed game announcements along with the awards, but they could have done something like what I think the Oscars do, where they do minor awards as a separate show, because putting all the awards in one show extended it to an unbearable degree, to the point that the show ran 4 hours long, if I remember. JDM, am I correct?
4 hours.
Yeah, 4 hours. I mean, a lot of the audience there were all Statler and Waldorf, who were there as critics, were joking that by the end of the third hour, they were saying, I really hope that this thing finishes up soon, something like that. And a lot of you can see it. Yeah, you can see it in the audience too, that they were really getting antsy, because 4 hours for an award show, it's a little bit much. Even the Oscars maxes it out at 2.5, if I remember correctly. That's my observation. How about you, JDM? What do you think?
It went too long. Like, we already cut off our live reaction like a few minutes early, even before they presented the nominees for even before they started playing the orchestra for the Game of the Year awards.
Yeah.
And then, but at least we had some new game announcements. Some of them are squad games, a lot of couch co-op games as well.
Oh yeah.
And some familiar AAA games like The Witcher 4.
Yeah, that's true. What can I say? And of course, it was a personal joy for me to hear the theme song to the new Civilization game coming out, composed again by Christopher Tin. Very, very good on that one. I mean, overall, it was a mixed bag. I would say about 60% enjoyable, 65%
No, there was something.
enjoyable.
There was
Yes,
something
Machine.
surprising.
Go ahead.
Apologies for the background noise, people. I'm outside, but the surprising thing was that Capcom finally broke the seal of them not reviving old franchises. So that was really surprising. So, Breath of Fire, please.
Oh, for those of you in the audio podcast, please forgive Miss Hinu. She's out partying right now, enjoying herself. But yes, she took time out of her busy partying schedule to join us here in Timeless Gamer, and for that we are very thankful, Miss Hinu. Thank you very much for that one. And yes, that's a very good point. That's a very salient point. The fact that Capcom has done a little bit something different this time. So yeah, overall, I'd say about 65% enjoyable, 35% could stand some improvements. And if they've been doing this for 10 years, I'm kind of surprised they didn't utilize those 10 years to keep improving their show time wise. But, what can I say? We are in a constant state of trying to improve ourselves anyway. Jose, were you there to see how it all fell down, shall we say?
I watched like the first maybe 40 minutes. Like I watched the pre-show and like maybe the first 40 minutes of the actual show. And then I had to go do some other stuff, so I couldn't really stay. But I was following along on Twitter. The Game Awards, I already know it's gonna be like long and kind of just drawn out. So sometimes I usually just watch just for the announcements. So I was following the announcements.
Yeah, I think that was me, Jose's, and JDM's objective overall. We were in there for the announcements. I guess going forward, we gamers can pretty much accept the fact that we love future game announcements, trailers, things that we look forward to. That's one of our commonalities. It's stuff that we get excited for. And some might criticize us for saying, get excited for new product, consume more product, blah, blah, whatever. No, but it captures the spirit of the old days when we used to go to the cinemas and see trailers at the beginning of the movie. Oh, cool. That movie looks like it's going to be nice going next year. But, it's with video games now. And back to you, Joe. That's our take on the Video Game Awards.
It's rigged.
For those
It's rigged.
people,
Okay.
for
So
those
they
people who
say.
are wondering regarding with the awards, the game of the year was awarded to Astrobot. Okay, Astrobot, and to my surprise, because I didn't realize Astrobot was in the ballot, and with all of those games being on the nominee list, not all of those games I played personally. But Astrobot would have been the last title that I would have picked for for game of the year
when I saw that.
right? And I'm like, what exactly were their criteria on judging the game of the year?
No,
Is
I
it
think it's
sales?
them
Is it
playing safe. I think they're playing
gameplay?
safe.
Is it votes from the gamers? So I'm not even sure, because I don't want to say that it's rigged. Okay, I don't want to say the system is rigged, or some people will say, oh, Sony paid the Game Awards for Astrobot to win Game of the Year. I'm like, what would be the end game of that? You know what I mean? But anyways, Astrobot Game of the Year for 2024. There's a lot more takeaways from that from the gaming awards, but that's not our main concern for this episode. We are talking about Final Fantasy Spirits Within, which this movie came out in
2001.
right after the turn of the millennium, and for this evening,
after we'd survived the Y2K bug.
Y2K.
Yeah.
So for this evening, we got Sir JDM, we got Miss Hinu, Sir Joel, and of course, the director for this game, for this review, Sir Jose. So we will let Sir Jose pilot this episode. So let's go with Sir Jose.
Take it away, show captain.
All right. So when this come out? It's 2001. Everyone's excited. Final Fantasy movie in the theaters. No one knows anything about it. Well, a little backstory. I remember hearing about it. I was in junior high, and I remember being like, "Oh shit, a Final Fantasy movie!" Like that's, and we're hot off the heels of 7 and 8, so like there's all the rumors spreading around school, like what's it gonna be about. I remember people saying like, "Oh, it's gonna be like a mix between 7 and 8. You're gonna have 7 and 8 characters. It's gonna be a sequel to 8." And then I remember, I forget which magazine it was, but a magazine did like a little story on it, and they had one screenshot, and it was just Aki's eye, and we were like, "Oh my god, that looks so real!" Like what? Like, and we were like trying to figure out like whose eye is that? Is it Tifa's? Is it Eris? Like we're just like over here like trying to like
tons of speculation.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my god, like what could it be? It was not what we thought,
to say the least.
Yeah, not at all.
That movie will come out like a few years later.
And I remember like it being a big deal. Square like opened up their own movie division. They did Square Pictures just to make this. Man, and I didn't even watch it in the theater. I waited till it came out on DVD.
Oh, okay.
So I like, and it's weird that I didn't hear anyone's complaints about the movie the whole time between. So I don't know if anyone just didn't want to talk about it or out of sight, out of mind.
Let's put it this way. After you'd stepped out of the theater, you felt dazed, confused, shocked, overall. I guess that was the feeling of a lot of people stepping out of the movie theaters. I personally saw it in the theaters in Mega Mall, on its first run. And yeah, those were my feelings stepping out of the theater afterwards. But I'll save my rants and raves about it as we progress. As we progress. Go ahead, Jose. You're about to say.
Okay. I was just gonna go like so like video game movies have not really had the best track record at this point. There's a couple of decent,
really
ones.
Good ones.
Yeah. So I guess we had the high hopes for this one too. It's coming from the man himself, Sakaguchi. So why wouldn't it be good? I don't know. I don't know. So, for you, question for those of you that saw it in the theater: was the theater packed? Was there a lot of people there to see it?
All right. In my personal case, when I went to see Final Fantasy Spirits Within at Mega Mall in 2001 or 2002, if I recall correctly, typical Filipino audience. A lot of people, the big thing about Filipinos is that we are a huge movie watching audience. Any movie that you go to, you can always say, I'd say about a good 50% of the theater will almost always be filled because of the fact that I think we Filipinos hold the world record for most movie going audience overall, because we have a glut of movie theaters. We have a ton of movies coming to our shores every year. On the average, I think Filipino watches close to about 15 to 20 movies throughout the year overall. Because, a lot of movies, a lot of movie theaters, very cheap prices. In the old days, anyway, it was very cheap to go see a movie way back when. And when I went to see Final Fantasy Spirits Within, about half of the theater was filled up, because it was, matinee. A lot of people were just hanging around. Not a lot of people were at work and everything. So yeah, it was people watching, sitting back, relaxing, enjoying. Some looking forward to it, obviously gamers, and some just probably there for because they just had time to pass. So it was overall a very mixed bag, and sad to say, throughout the movie it was deadly quiet. Nobody was reacting to anything. People were just letting the visuals wash over them. I guess that's the entire thing. And by the end of it, they stepped out again, deadly quiet, nothing, no reactions, no words. They just stepped out of the movie theater very I guess blasé, I guess is the correct word for it. Yeah. So that was my experience with my movie watching of Final Fantasy Spirits Within. Me personally, I stepped out and Three letters jump to mind right off the bat. WTF. That's it. All right, that was my experience. How about anybody else? Did anybody else see it in the theaters? One during its first run? No. Oh, come
I
on,
did.
you kids. Oh, you
I
did.
did.
Okay, there you go. There you go, Joe. Relate to us your story.
Okay. So, me and my brother
Ready.
watched this in a cinema, SM North EDSA,
Mhm.
day one premiere, the premiere night.
Mhm.
Okay, and I can't remember if it's I doubt it would have been a jam packed movie house,
Mhm.
considering that it's Final Fantasy.
Mhm.
The only people would have known the title would have been actual gamers,
Mhm.
right? So, and and even if there were even girls there,
Mhm.
it would have been just just some guys who took their girlfriends or their wives for a movie date, and they just insisted, girl, Final Fantasy, hype, 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 hype. We should watch this.
Mhm.
And this would be a perfect movie date for the both of us. Let's go watch it. It looks awesome. I play the games, yada 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 yada, and then boom.
Mhm.
Like Sir Joel mentioned, like it was nothing between me and my brother. Okay, he's the Final Fantasy guy. I'm the Star Ocean slash Tales of guy.
Mhm.
Okay, at this point, 2001. At that point, I still have not played any of the
Mhm.
Final Fantasy games.
Mhm.
Being a JRPG guy, but I know seven and eight.
Mhm.
All right, I'm familiar with those games because he played those games. So I'm quite familiar with the lore,
Mhm.
and I remember. I'm not sure if Sir Joel and Sir JTM will can attest to this. Back then, the only because we don't have the internet at the time,
Mhm.
what we got were gaming magazines.
Oh yeah.
So
Mhm.
you got the
Yes.
gaming magazines like Game Pro, EGM, Electronic Gaming Monthly, Game Pro,
Mhm. Mhm.
and those other gaming magazines back in the Philippines. That they would just show some still pictures of Final Fantasy Spirits Within.
Mhm.
And if I can remember correctly, and knowing what I know now, most of those pictures just came from the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. Uh, Square being such sneaky bastards at the time.
I mean, they're not now. Yes, they still are. Okay.
They are, but at the
Yeah.
time when they were marketing it to the
Mhm.
people,
Ah.
they were really trying to push the
Mhm.
visual aspects of it. Ooh,
Oh
look at this! Look how realistic the graphics are,
yeah.
just like what you see in the games. But we won't tell you what kind of story. It's up to you to find out, right? And us back in the late 90s, the early 2000s, we just ate that up
Mhm.
because hey, it's Square. After their success with seven, and then being followed up with a lot more bangers after that. Final
Mhm.
Fantasy VIII, Parasite Eve, Brave Fencer Musashi, Einhander. I'm not sure if Vagrant Story came out before Serious Within. Let's toss it in there. Vagrant Story, Final Fantasy Tactics, among other stuff. You know, SquareSoft can't do no wrong at that point.
Mm.
We were into that ride, that hype, right? So, like Sir Jose mentioned, is this seven? Is this eight? Is this somewhere in between? Is this a sequel of it? Somewhere the story. So expectations were high if you're a gamer per se, or at least of the franchise. Chances are this would have been game be the video game movie adaptation since Mortal Kombat.
Oh, one moment. Joe seems to be having a little bit of technical troubles. We'll come back to him in a moment once his signal clarifies. But yes, Jose, would you say that his reaction, Joe's reaction so far for what he said, is how you pictured yourself to have reacted when you first saw it? Because you said that you didn't see it in the theaters, right? You saw it. Mm-hmm.
I saw it when it came out on DVD. We might have rented it or something. I don't remember.
But, Blockbuster?
Yeah.
Yeah, Blockbuster days. Okay. In the Philippines, that's the equivalent of Video City, guys. Or I completely forgot. Which one was that? JDM, the other video store that we used to go to? Astrovision? Was it Astrovision or Video City? Yeah. Oh, anyway.
Video City,
yeah, ACA video. Okay. ACA video. That's it. Yes. Go ahead, Jose.
I remember watching it and being like, "Well, that wasn't what we were talking about back in junior high." I was like, there. I just remember being like that was nothing like the games.
Mm-hmm.
There was no magic.
Mm-hmm.
There was no summons.
Mm-hmm. No chocobos.
No. Well, technically, she has
no. Technically,
no.
Whatever you saw, that doesn't count.
She does have a chocobo little stitching on her pajamas or whatever the hell those things are.
Mm-hmm.
But there was nothing really. I think the closest thing to being remotely tied to the game was that part where it literally looks like that scene from Seven where the live stream is coming out of the Earth to save it. That's like the closest. Besides the Chocobo logo, that was the closest you got to being Final Fantasy.
George, continue. Your the last part of your experience got cut off for a moment there, but
which part did I get cut off?
You got cut off at the part where you said, what was that, GDM? When he was getting close to how he had finished up with his brother, and you had just
got out of the
theater. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. Okay. So, hype movie. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And chances are you would have thought that this would have been the best video game movie adaptation since Mortal Kombat.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Oh yeah, Mortal Kombat was amazing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. So most likely, before coming into the theater, lining up, you're thinking, you're hyping yourself. This is going to be amazing, right? Like nothing else will compare. And then it happened.
I think what I imagined Sergio did after watching the movie, he came out of the theater and looked up. Once he got out, looked up to see if it was really Final Fantasy spirits within.
Or was it a different movie? Or did I go to the correct theater? Because the title might not be the right movie that I went into. I might have paid for Final Fantasy and gone into, I don't know, a Space Odyssey 2002. I don't know.
But still, So I saw it day one in the premiere, and I completely blacked out years after, because collectively from the community, soundingly very negative response about the movie.
Pretty much,
we'll talk more about the aftermath of Spirits Within later on.
Yeah,
but collectively, because it was such a negative, it just left such a negative sour note with the whole fan base.
Okay,
It
okay, okay. Is
it
my
got
turn to? Is it
it
my turn
got
now? You
Yes,
guys been
yes,
blasting the
Messino.
movie.
Okay.
so
Yes. Well,
It's my turn
so
now. How
it got
about you guys shut up?
so it got the
oh
Dragon
wait.
Ball evolution treatment,
All right.
basically.
Messino wants to chime in. Go ahead, Messino.
Come on.
I've been hearing nothing but slang, but I do understand your guys' POV. I'm coming from the the, the premise that
I'm sorry, Messino. You're not coming in. Could you repeat?
in the Final Fantasy
Uh,
Oh no, yeah, she's really low and cutting out.
before I
yeah.
watched the movie.
Sorry, Messino. Your signal's really bad. We'll come back to you in a moment. Okay.
I think
Yeah. Sorry, Messino's signal is really bad. Okay.
I think she's
yeah.
transmitting from the Phantom Planet.
You could be.
But this is better.
All right, Messino from the top. Okay, sorry. I think we lost her. Anyway, Jose, we'll come back to Miss Hino because definitely she's got a lot to say too. She is one of our resident experts when it comes to anime and stuff like that. So definitely we want to hear her opinion. But Jose, go ahead with the program for the
Okay.
moment. Mhm.
All right, so we've talked why video game movies are a big deal. What happened with this? Okay, so let's get into it.
Mhm.
Besides it being a big disappointment to the Final Fantasy name,
Mhm.
did you enjoy the movie?
Okay. Let me be real with you. During my theater watching, absolutely not. No. As in like the whole time that I was there, I as a video gamer, sitting in the theater, you expect a few things. You are looking for a few things that are video game related. And if it's marketed to you as a video game related movie, you go into it in a mode where you are looking for things, elements of the video games to find as little Easter eggs in the movie. And during my watching of it in the theaters, it was completely, I completely did not enjoy it because it was one of the adjectives that I used to describe this movie is it's vague and obtuse as a video game related movie because of the fact that you go into it looking for video game related elements, you find 0.1% of it in there, and not even during your first watch too. You have to really dig deep to find that chocobo that's stitched onto Aki's pajamas. Like, really, that's it? Or a Sid with an Sid with
Sid,
an airship? That's all. That's all. That's
and Gaia. We got
Gaia, like
Gaia.
The
like
summon.
like, oh my gosh, like that's all you're gonna toss us. And it's not even a bone. It's like, the fraction of a bone that you're tossing us, Sakaguchi. So overall, as a video game movie, it fell so flat on his face that it rubbed its own nose off. But as a movie itself, when I watched it again this past week on Roku channel for free, legally, when I saw it as a movie going experience, it was still incomprehensible. But as a movie, as a sci-fi movie, as a mediocre sci-fi movie, it was passable. It was something that you could enjoy sitting down, doing cross stitch in the background, while it's playing there. And the visuals do impress. Thinking of it in a 2001, 2002 perspective, CGI cutscenes back then were very rudimentary. This one just blew it all out of the water. It was like a huge cutscene. Of course, it's not impressive now with PS4, PS5, Xbox graphics, But yeah, way back when, it was really mind blowing. So as a movie going experience, it was still incomprehensible. It was still pretentious, but it was acceptable as something that you can run in the background while you're, I don't know, chopping meat for dinner. That's my take on it. Okay, next. If Miss Hinu signals better now, she can come in. But if not, then we can come back to her again. Anybody else?
For
Uh,
me, I
mm,
haven't seen it in the theaters. I saw it from a classmate when, like, a year later or 2 years later.
mhm,
We were doing the school project, and just to pass the time while we were
mhm,
doing those projects, we one of my classmates asked me if uh, would you like to watch this. I don't know where he got the copy, and we just played it while we were doing our work. And I didn't really get the meat and potatoes about the story. I just saw the visuals. It looks stunning. Like, back then, we rarely see CGI movies. Like, the one that we really remember was Toy Story in 1995. And then, but I I'm not really an RPG fan, and I was looking for the summons or something that would incorporate it to the game, but I didn't see anything. Just like what Sir Jose said, I only we only had this word Gaia, like the deity or the summons in the Final Fantasy games, but it didn't really look like a summon, but it's a life form.
mhm,
So there's no magic, and it was it was a sci-fi film. And when I watched it yesterday, while I was at work, that's when I that's when that's actually the second time that I saw it, and that's when I understood the story because I was focused into it.
Oh, you understood
So
the story? I hadn't. I still. It was still. I still couldn't get it. It was like. For me, it's like okay, that doesn't make sense, but whatever. Okay. Anyway, continue, JDM.
you were like, I think you were like Steve Buscemi when they
Mm-hmm.
were still in prison.
Mm-hmm.
They were in prison. That
Mm-hmm.
suddenly he just put all the puzzle pieces together, but you still
Mm-hmm.
don't understand it.
Yeah, it connects, but it doesn't make sense. It's like that. Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a you will know it's a good sci-fi film if you hear um uh, people or stuff like Galileo or heliocentric
Mm-hmm.
theory. You hear Copernicus or something like that. Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm a really big fan of sci-fi films, and whenever I hear those like
Mm-hmm.
theory sciences, I
Mm-hmm.
really get invested or interested because
Okay.
I knew those things from elementary or high school, and
Mm-hmm.
oh, they were like uh made like elements or key elements in the movie. So
Mm-hmm.
it got me interested on watching it. Then I think it doesn't really. It's like um, a really different movie, not a Final
Mm-hmm.
Fantasy movie.
Mm-hmm.
And we were I don't know if um, earlier in our group chat,
Mm-hmm.
Sergio presented if it was entitled it was a Star Ocean. Is if it was a different RPG game,
Mm-hmm.
it would be. okay, but a Final Fantasy movie, no. I don't see any connection. Not even like if it's the same universe or was it an alternate timeline. There were no connotations or something like that.
Which brings us to Joe. Actually, that's a really good segue into Joe's opinion of it. Joe, what's your takeaway? Your opinion?
Okay. All right. Okay. I'll bite.
All right.
So
Everybody
on
strap
my-
in.
All right. So on my on our first viewing back in the cinema, like I mentioned, I just blanked out. Okay. No, literally, like if it wasn't for Sir Jose suggesting we do the review for Spirits Within. If you're gonna ask me like a few days ago, what did you remember about the movie? I'll tell you nothing. In the matter of story, nothing. I really couldn't tell you. As much as I mean, they were looking for something. Spirits, sure. Combat the so-called aliens. That's it. But the detail on the what and on the how and the why and the where, I couldn't tell you. Okay. Because blanking out meaning this is not because in my mind this is not Final Fantasy, and this is coming from the guy who hasn't even played the Final Fantasy games that much. Even in my heart, I know this isn't it. This wasn't it. So we're rewatching it now, 20 plus years later. Okay. I know what I'm expecting. I know this ain't Final Fantasy. This is Final Fantasy in name only. Okay. Gone were the days of the sword and magic. I know I'm not going to expect any of those. Okay. So what do I have now? Okay. I'm going to judge this movie based on how we usually do movie reviews. Story, plot, character development, voice acting, yada 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 yada. Okay. So and I'm a story guy now. Okay. I pay more attention to the story now. So in terms of story, I like I mentioned in our group chat, it just brought my emotion of confusion and resentment. I remembered it all. Okay. Like why are we doing this? Like why are you searching for these so-called spirits? Why eight spirits? Okay. Why are we starting the movie on the sixth spirit now? And why even spirits? What's the science behind it? Science fiction, guys. Like Sir mentioned. Okay. So what exactly made them think that these so-called spirits would be the key on defeating these alien invaders, quote unquote? Okay. And as far as voice acting, it's a hit and miss. The only people that I appreciated would be James Woods and Donald Sutherland. James Woods being the general, so he voiced the general here. He's the antagonist, the main antagonist, and Donald Sutherland who voiced Dr. Sid. Those were the only guys who really stood out voice acting wise because they had the most emotion. And when I said emotion, meaning in their looking at their character sprites, they have more facial expressions. That's why they can play a little bit more with their voices. With your main character here, okay, with Aki Ross, all throughout the movie, very stoic. Like you hardly see her burst out in any emotion. Like she's just, like she's kind of monotone. all throughout the movie, like almost always. Like you don't hear her yell, or you don't hear her being too emotional. You know what I mean? I'm emotional meaning I didn't say like she should cry or anything like that. But there were some certain so there was this certain scene that she was having this dramatic monologue when when she was describing to to Alec Baldwin's character about the certain spirits that she already gathered. Okay, she was talking about this little girl, 7 years old, terminally ill, and she was trying to say that you're not going to die. Your spirit is just going to return to Gaia. So she was having this dramatic monologue in that the girl said to me, "Oh, you don't have to make stuff up to make me feel better. I'm prepared to die." So she was so that sold me. Okay,
Yes.
that I mean, it's not her delivery that sold me. It's the story about the girl prepared to die. Okay, accepting her fate in such a young age. That sold me. The story sold me. But her acting wise, her delivery of that didn't. It just didn't sold me per se. And the voice actor here is Ming Na. To those of you who are curious, Ming Na is if you watch Street Fighter the movie, she's Chun Li. She was Chun Li. So
She's
that's
Mulan. Come on,
Mulan.
Mulan.
Yeah.
She's the voice of Mulan from the animated movie.
Mhm.
Okay, and she's Chun Li.
Mhm.
For those people who don't know what Ming Na looks like,
Mhm.
watch Street Fighter the movie. That's her. Okay,
And the Mandalorian, if I remember, she was Fennec
Mandalorian,
something.
and she's also an Agents of Shield.
Yeah,
Okay,
there you go.
okay, so that's Ming Na.
So she
all right?
has range. She has
She has
range.
range, but for some reason, the art, the directing here, the sprite direction here, they didn't give her anything much to do acting wise. I mean, she was so very limited on what her character was given. Like she didn't really the character sprite herself was not really given much of a dramatic range that she should really uh you know for Ming not to really express herself dramatically. Because with James Woods and Donald Sutherland, you can really tell the affliction of their voices when they were talking, when they were speaking, depending on the situation. Okay, James Woods especially during when he was presenting his case on the council, whether or not we should fire the big freaking laser, the laser. Okay, Doctor Evil, right?
$1 million. Okay.
1 million yen. Okay. I'm sorry. This is Final Fantasy. 1 million gil.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Gil. Okay.
1 million gil. Okay. So and so yeah. In with explaining the plot again, and especially with the enemies that they're dealing with. We'll talk more about this later. It just got more confusing because what really are they? Okay, guys, if you are doing a sci-fi movie or a TV show, whatever science that you try to establish, try to stick to it. Okay, and if you're going to establish it, be sure to establish it properly. Just lay out the foundation and stick to it to the bone. Rather, don't change the rules whenever it's convenient for you. Okay, this is exactly what happened with Final Fantasy. Okay, it got really confusing. What the hell are they supposed to be? Okay, but we'll talk more about that later. Okay, so if you're going to ask me, long story short, whether I enjoyed it as a movie, no, with all the faults that I saw, it's not really an enjoyable movie. I mean, I ended up questioning like this movie for like every 10 minutes.
I read somewhere, Joe, that the scriptwriter actually wrote it in English, sent it to Japan, had it somebody translated it there to Japanese, and then the Japanese sent it back to whoever it is and retranslated it to English, which resulted in the incomprehensible mess of a script that we had. That's basically how.
So take note of that. What Sir Joel said. We'll talk more. We'll talk more about that later.
Okay. All right. We'll have Miss Hinu put in her opinion, because I really am looking forward to hearing what she has to say about this. But yes, back to you, Jose. Go ahead.
That comment.
I know this comment wins the show. Honestly, first read it out. Actually, read the thread. JDM. It starts with Riku's first one, which says.
Okay, so Riku said, it is a Final Fantasy movie. It just takes place in the Final Fantasy cinematic universe.
And then JDM replied.
I replied. I was about to say live that what Final Fantasy cinematic universe are you talking about?
And Riku came back with the perfect comment, which said, JDM.
And here's a follow-up. It's the Final Fantasy cinematic universe, which began with Spirits Within and ends with the Spirits Within. So it's the first and the last entry in the series. So
oh man,
that comment wins the show. Honestly, thank you so much.
Okay, well, technically it is, because Advent Children does not count. Endglaive
was bonkers.
Final Fantasy 15 and the King's Glaive does not count either. And the Animatrix, the rest of the Osiris does not count either. Because if we're talking about cinematic release, like worldwide cinematic release, it's just with Spirits Within.
All right, here we go. Let me put this in there before I completely forget, because I'm an old man. The Spirits Within was the one end of the cinematic Final Fantasy universe experience. Utter disappointment, crash and burn. The other end, which is Final Fantasy Advent Children, is what whoever it is did that learned from Spirits Within and did entire fan service, which is what a video game movie should be all about. You pander to your audience, and sure, you can try to bring in somebody new, but those guys are secondary. But anyway, continue, Jose.
Okay, so personally, I like the movie.
That's fine. That's fine. You're entitled to like whatever you like, but you have to justify it to us. Yeah. What did you like about the movie?
I guess when I watch it, I kind of just take away the Final Fantasy name, and I'm just watching a movie called The Spirits Within. Yes, the story is a little all over the place. There's all kinds of plot holes, but I forget who said it, but it's just one of those movies that you put on while you're doing something else,
chopping meat and vegetables. Okay,
so you don't really have to pay attention too much to it, because you're just like, oh, okay, it looks okay, it looks pretty to look at, I like the actors they had in there, but as a Final Fantasy movie, no, it's not a good movie.
Well, this one, I agree with John. This one, anything that James Woods shows up with in any role that he's in, he's great at. James Woods, I have to give him that. And of course, he did splendidly here with this movie. He did really well as the bad guy as well. Sure, you can hate his character, but you cannot fault his performance of that character. It was really, really good. Anyway, continue, Jose.
It was good. I really hate his character.
There you go.
But they call them popcorn movies. It's an excuse to eat popcorn. I think that was the thing that was in the.
That was the screenshot.
Yeah,
That's
in the
the eye
magazine,
right there. Oh, little fun fact about James Woods. I just love this. If I can insert it, James Woods. One of James Woods' most favorite characters that he's ever played is Hades from Hercules, and he loves that character so much that he said that any time that Hades is going to ever be portrayed anywhere, he wants to be the one to play it, and he doesn't need to get paid for it either. If it turns out that fee is going to be a problem, even if it's some kind of rinky-dink little indie film, if it's going to be Hades, he wants to be there and he'll do it for free. He says because he loves that character so much. Anyway, continue, Jose.
Yeah. Speaking on that, I'm pretty sure he does do the voice on the Kingdom Hearts games.
Oh, he does. He does.
Yeah,
Absolutely does. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, he's so good as Hades. But
yes.
This is Final Fantasy.
Yeah. Anyway, we're just the fact that we like elements of the movie.
Yes.
We like the actors. We like the characters, certain way that they perform, certain way that they're written. But yes, overall the movie has major problems. Anyway, continue, Jose.
So, but yeah, like I enjoy watching the movie. I've watched it probably dozens of times since then. I only watched
dozens of times. Why?
Dozens of times. Why subject yourself to that? Anyway,
I don't mind it. Like
okay.
But, all right, okay. You know so watching it dozens of times, then that means you understood the movie by now.
Yes, actually, that's the good next question. Have you?
So if we're going to ask you some questions, you can clearly answer them, right?
I don't know about that.
Because,
like I said, it's one of those movies that you just kind of put on in the background. So I don't really pay attention to it a lot. It does have a lot of inconsistencies and things that don't make sense. Like it just throws you in there like right away, like in this opening scene, like we're just like what's going on, and then
it's very in medias res, in the middle of things.
I think it needed like something else, like it needed more backstory so you know what you're going into. I know there is a novelization of this movie, which probably gives more story to it. But I have not been able to find it. So
let me just say one thing. Visually speaking, one part that really excited me was seeing New York City. A devastated New York City after the entire thing was done, because of the fact that I've been there. I know the area. I've walked those streets. It was a very good representation of what New York City would look like after a disaster.
Excuse Sir Joel because he's from Jersey.
So
whenever he walks in New York, he sees wasteland. Okay.
Well,
New York now is still a
honestly
wasteland.
right now the way New York is, it's very close to the Final Fantasy movie. But yes, Joe does just make a good point. Yeah, Joe does make a very good point. Seeing New York City, a recreation of it in the movie was a little bit of a treat. I mean, back then it was I didn't have any special connection to it, but seeing it again this past week, it was well done. And I do remember Aki's map of Times Square. It was an accurate map of Times Square. But anyway, to your point, Joe, yes, walking around New York City right now is very close to how the movie represents it and the way it is. Anyway, continue.
We got a comment here from Sir Siebert. Sir ADM, if you please.
Let's see. So Sir Siebert says, I don't think the title Final Fantasy
the Final Fantasy title of this film.
Title of this film has anything to do with any Final Fantasy game. Guest producers are just cashing in with the popularity of the game during the movie's release. The movie was not exactly that bad. It's just nothing. It has nothing to do with Final Fantasy. I don't exactly play Final Fantasy, but as I watch it, I'm sure it hasn't. Right?
Yes.
So
As
no,
it
no,
is,
no,
Final
no,
Fantasy
no.
was more of a brand than anything else for this
Mm.
movie. It was a brand that they used. Oh, we have Messino. Messino, are you there? Okay, she's still having a little bit of trouble, I guess. We'll circle around back to her. But yes, that was Siebert who really put forward his opinion, and it's a very good opinion as well. It has nothing to do with Final Fantasy, the
And
video game
and
series. It
he's
is a
not a
brand.
JRPG guy, okay?
He's not a
Ladies and
JRPG
gentlemen,
guy either.
Percy Bird is not even a JRPG guy, and even he
Mhm.
can tell this ain't Final Fantasy.
Mhm. But yes, honestly, with Jose's putting forward of his opinion, it does make sense. It is valid as an opinion, and I can see where he's coming from. As a cinematic experience, it is still enjoyable if you sit down and watch it and don't try to
What?
force your preconceived notion of Final Fantasy to it. I mean, I like the way that he describes it. He has it running in the background. It's visual. It's nothing, it's nothing to think too deep about. You see the action, sure. What Deep
I
Eyes
got
team? I
questions.
forgot Blue Eyes team. But yeah, like let it happen, let it flow, and then by the end of it, it all connects, but it does make sense. Anyway, Joe, you were about to say.
I got questions then.
Go ahead.
Okay.
We might have answers.
Yeah,
I
because-
have
okay,
a number
all
of
right.
questions. Okay.
I have a few questions. All right.
Okay.
Okay. So let's talk. So let's talk about. Okay, guys, it's been 20 years. Okay, this movie is old enough to fuck. Okay,
So enough
spoilers all the way.
Yes.
Okay, spoilers all the way. We don't care.
Yes.
All right.
Mhm.
So let's talk about the aliens,
Mhm.
unquote, unquote.
Mhm.
All right. Are they supposed to be ethereal or are they supposed to be non-corporeal?
Mhm.
Non-corporeal meaning it has a physical body that you get that you can harm. It can be damaged. Yada yada yada.
Mhm.
So there are some instances that they support that they can see them. Sometimes they can't.
Mhm.
Sometimes they can shoot it. Sometimes they can't. Sometimes sometimes it flows like they can go through walls. They can go through pipes. But if
Mhm.
you blast them, they smash to the ground like it's like they weigh like 100 tons.
Mhm.
So what are they supposed to be? Like what kind of creatures are they? So
As close as I
ethereal or
can make it,
non-corporeal?
as close as I can make it, they are residual energy from the previous planet. They are a residual negative energy from what happened to that other planet, the phantom planet, whatever it is, that because of the fact that they were in the middle of a war, they were in the middle of annihilating each other, and one final bomb annihilated everybody all at the same time. All that negative residual energy that was attached to that planet that got blown away in an asteroid and landed on Earth started manifesting itself. And, anything that it got in contact with as a positive energy, it absorbed and destroyed. So that is as close as I can make in terms of logic. Would you say that was the case, Jose?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I agree with with Ray.
Mm.
I like the movie.
Okay.
Yeah, like I kind of took it too that maybe like once the
Which is
entities
also
are
the reason why laser weapons, which are energy based, affect it, but physical attacks do not,
yeah
because they are residual energy. Anyway, Jose, go ahead.
that's what I assume. I assume once they get hit with the energy, that's when they kind of become physical. So
Mhm.
that's why you see like the effect
Mhm.
of them hitting the ground and stuff like that.
Mhm. This is video gamer logic here. Okay, anyway,
Yeah.
continue.
It's funny
Nanomachines.
these
Nanomachines.
monsters,
Okay. Mhm.
the aliens or the whatever
The phantoms, that's what they call it. They call it phantoms, and they call it
Mhm.
phantoms for a reason. Which by the end of the movie, like I was like, well, duh. That's why you
Mhm.
called them phantoms in the first place. You're realizing it now.
Mhm.
There's this and maybe we should play it because
Phantoms.
it's funny. There's this movie that came out 10 years after Final Fantasy, and it
Mhm.
almost has a similar
Theme?
theme where there's these light creatures that you can't see.
Oh yeah, is it a live action movie? I completely forgot the title.
The Darkest Hour.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, that's it. You're right.
I just posted the link for the trailer in the private chat, but you can see that there is, it's almost the same type of monster. Like you can't see it unless you're like in certain conditions, and it's in a big city. It's almost like a live action version of Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it does. You're right, Jose. It does remind me of that. I saw the trailer to it. I haven't had the chance to see the movie. I might see it sometime.
That's all I ever saw was the trailer, and I was like, "Oh, that looks good. I'll watch it one day." 13 years later, still haven't watched it.
Right. You know, usually these movies go onto these free streaming platforms like Pluto or Tubi or Freevee. If I catch it there sometime, I'll probably watch it. But yeah, you're right. It does remind me of that one, Jose. Correct. But yes, as a video gamer, that's the only logical way it makes sense to me. These so-called phantoms in Final Fantasy Spirits Within, they're not even aware of what's happening to the main characters. They're just still in their shall we say memory movements because of the fact of what happened in their old planet, and they're moving around what they normally would have done in their old planet, completely unaware of what's happening around them or moving around. Like, sure, they might be going through the conduits or whatever or spreading throughout the planet, but the fact is they're still supposed to be doing what they were doing in the old planet, and they don't care what's happening. Those gigantic things, they're supposed to be the equivalent of elephants and whales. The human-sized things, they're still fighting each other. So they are, for all intents and purposes, energy ghosts, shall we say? From the sound of it, from the way that the movie is, it could have been explained that way better, and it would have made more sense to me, and I would have enjoyed it more the first time if it had been explained that way. But the way that it had been presented, it was very obtuse. It was incomprehensible. So I don't remember. Teenage me just didn't enjoy it, and
how about the guy who watches 12 times?
Sorry, what? what was that?
Guy who watched the movie over 12
times? Oh
yes,
that's true. Okay, Jose.
How can what logic do you accept?
All of it.
All of it.
All right. Okay. So let's skip that. Okay.
Okay.
So the general. Okay. James Woods' character. Okay. So they have been fighting these phantoms for over 30 years now, and you would think that they already know what they are. Okay. We got this energy shield. It's been protecting this city for over 30 years now. Okay. And Dr. Sid, being the inventor that he was, developed the shield, right? Okay, so just to prove a point, okay, the general, James Woods' character, decided to lower down the shields on Sector 31 so that some of those phantoms can get in, terrorize the people inside the base, so that it will force the council to greenlit firing Zeus, the big fucking laser. Oh, the big fucking laser.
BFG. Okay.
The BFG, the laser. All right. And then when shit hits the fan, oh, Captain, some of these phantoms are going through our pipes. And he's like, that can't be right. No one can survive those pipes. And I'm like, dude, we already established the fact that they can move through walls. And you're realizing, you guys are realizing this now. Explain that.
Because of the fact that he was of the mindset that they're living beings, but like Sid established, and from my flawed logic of it, they're just memories. They're just energy ghosts, and so they're not even aware of what they're doing, personally speaking, in this realm. So,
No,
I mean,
over 30 years of
yeah,
them
that's true.
dealing
Yeah.
with these phantoms.
Mhm.
They just, they know that they can move through walls. They know that
Mm.
they're non-corporeal, and suddenly they just realize, oh shit, they can move through pipes too.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. I guess that's one thing. I guess the General
And it
Heinz
was General
character,
Heinz. Yeah.
yeah, that didn't understand the extent of how much they could move through stuff. I guess he was just running
And
through
he's
on the
like,
assumption.
okay, so but he was such a very sympathetic character.
Mm-hmm.
His
But that's
family
true.
died
That's true.
all of a
Yeah.
sudden. Okay,
Mhm.
so he was he was telling
He has
his
motivation.
yeah, he was telling his adjutant his
Mhm.
motivation why he hates this phantom so much.
Mhm.
Killed his family.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they just dropped dead.
Mhm.
Okay, so what that tells me is that he does not know exactly how people are dying when in contact with these phantoms.
Mhm.
Okay, because to us viewers, whenever you got exposed to the phantoms, the moment that they at least even the slightest graze, okay,
Mhm.
the slightest touch, all right, they will take away. They could kill in spirits. Let's just say their souls, right?
Mhm.
They're basically Shang Chung, like like these phantoms will take away your souls literally. That's why people are dropping dead.
Your
Okay,
soul is mine. Okay.
yeah, these phantoms are basically Shang Tsung.
Mhm.
Okay, so what that tells me is that he's not really fully aware what these creatures are. I mean, the soldiers do know because they're the ones. They're the grunts. They're the ones fighting on the ground. They know what they're dealing with. But him being the general, being the upper up, to my logic, he's like, okay, what I just know what they report to me. But me myself, I haven't really exposed myself front and center, like personally, how to how to deal with these phantoms. But even that logic still does not fly with me. I don't know. Sir JDM, how can you make
Uh,
sense of logic here?
I don't know. Maybe as a sci-fi fan, because I grew up with watching the X Files, the Twilight Zone. Most of the episodes are they're an anthology, so they don't. At least for the Twilight Zone, they're an anthology, so it doesn't really connect with each episode. Is a standalone story, and it's like a what if this is happening. Um, they don't really truly explain the science of why
Right,
there was this aliens. It's
right,
like they just it's like a short story, no background. There's a background story, but it's not that well established. I think when they made Spirits Within, it's like that. It's up for the they
so
don't
it's up
really
to the
back
viewer.
up the viewer. They don't really okay. We just gave this a bit of a backstory, so that's it. There's no like an well established backstory. Just that tiny bit of info. Then maybe that's the reason why um most of the science fiction plots are like that. They just give a little bit of backstory, then that's it.
That's it.
It's like what if there was this alien um, life or alien life form that is suddenly popped up on Earth, and it started terrorizing people. It's like that. So Yeah, I think most of that's a common like story in sci-fi.
I mean, it could have done with a little bit more, not exposition, but as it is, it's already filled with explanation. The way that Sid did it, the way that Aki did it, there was a lot of explanation into the movie already. But a little bit more, I guess the right word for it is connection. How the all that explanation kind of connects with each other, and how it all relates to things unfolding outside would have done the movie a lot of good. But as a mature moviegoer, if I had gone into a theater right now again, forgetting what my teenage dude persona was back then, and going into the theater right now and watching it as a movie, as a sci-fi movie, it would be acceptable. It would be something that I would probably enjoy on a large theater with THX sound and wall-to-wall cinema screen in my face, with a feast for the eyes and a little bit more explanation of the logic. I would enjoy it as a movie. Yes,
And I
as
guess
of right now, as of today. Mhm.
and I guess because back then they were really trying, maybe they're trying to like expand the story, like there's going to be a prequel or something like that,
Mm.
but after the movie, like a few months after, Square Pictures disintegrated, so nothing really came out of it.
Mhm.
They may be planning some like comic books or something like that, like a visual novel, that the ones they use today, that there's a like some sort of extra material or
So you're thinking they were probably doing a multimedia approach to it, JDM, like
yes,
comics, maybe even cartoon series or
yes,
something like
just
that.
like
Yeah.
That was their plan.
Mhm.
yeah, but it never really
Materialized.
materialized.
Yeah.
We're talking
Okay.
about materia now, so
Okay.
Oh, he brought it back.
yeah.
There you
Yeah, brought
go.
it back
Well done. Well done.
Since it's
to
so what Reiki said, it's the only, it started with spirits within and it ended with spirits within. So there's no spirits beyond.
Mm-mm.
It's just within.
or spirits outside. Spirits outside looking in. All
Or
right.
spirits that
As
you
are
drink.
they.
Anyway.
So,
All right. So yeah, I would say that that's a pretty fair assessment, JDM. Maybe they were gearing up to expand the explanation more with multimedia properties and everything, but with the reception that the movie got in terms of box office and in terms of the audience, I guess they just never got the chance. So
yeah.
yeah, road's not taken. Jose, would you agree with JDM's assessment?
um, yeah. You know, I, I think purely science fictionally, it is a really good
Mhm.
movie.
Mhm.
But because like even like then, like a lot of science fiction movies have, like especially older ones, have inconsistencies.
Mhm.
Um,
Yes. Mhm.
so like you kind of just forgive it for that.
Mhm.
You're
Yeah.
just there to watch the movie.
As long as the
Battlefield
logic makes
Earth.
sense.
Battlefield Earth
Mhm.
is better by comparison, okay, than this movie.
All right. We have Miss Hinu entering the fray. We would love to hear Miss Hinu's take on this. Miss Hinu, come in.
Am I already in the show or am I? Okay, okay. Oh, Jesus Christ, I'm so tired. Apologies for
Hey,
the difference
Merry
in the background.
Christmas. There you
Can you
go. That's fine.
can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Miss
Uh,
Hinu.
I don't know. How should I even start, man? I don't know what things you've already discussed. Then
No,
um,
do
did
what you
you?
want, Miss
Oh
Hinu. We'd
yeah,
love to
there you
hear
go.
you from the beginning. Go ahead. Go ahead with your opinion.
hang on. Let me. I wrote down some notes. Let me just open.
Oh, she's turning her camera. I think it might be just realigning or something of the sort. But yeah, Okay, I think we may have a problem with Miss Hina's feed again. Oh, there you go. All right, go ahead, Miss Hina.
Sorry, I was
Came
searching for
prepared.
my notes.
Hmm.
Came prepared. No. What was the first question? Have you seen it originally in the theaters? Yeah, I actually did. Now, to paint a picture for the others, back then, the Philippines didn't get much animated uh, films, whether it be anime, whether it be game adaptations. We didn't really get those. So when I first heard about, Final Fantasy, I was shocked that we were having it in the first place, and the showing wasn't limited to like the major malls in the country. It even showed in this little mall that's near our place. So I was glad that I begged my dad to, Dad, I want to watch it, even though I haven't played any Final Fantasy. I just heard it. I don't remember at the time if we already had the PlayStation 1 back then, but Spirits Within is my first FF, and I think this is the main big reason why my opinions compared to you guys would really differ because of that. I do not have the preconceived notions from existing Final Fantasy games since I'm a blank slate. During that time, I was already a fan of like the whatever the usual fantasy setting, etc., etc. But since I have really no idea what Final Fantasy is, who the characters are, what are the summons, what are like the typical tropes that you would see in a Final Fantasy, the SIDS, the airships, etc. Uh, I went into the theater with a more open mind, and I remember you guys talking about if the theater was full or not. And I think during that time it wasn't full because I mentioned that the mall where I watched it at was not really in the busiest of cities. So it was me, my sister, and my dad. And me and my sister were both relatively young then. So in terms of comprehension department, I think we just watched it for the, pretty graphics. I've never seen anything like that. Ooh, review. What do you think? Was it an FF? I'm gonna say yes, just because Sakaguchi says it's an FF. I do agree with what Joe said. I think it was Joe that said it earlier that if it were any other JRPG franchise, example like Star Ocean, maybe Xenosaga, maybe the themes of those would um, be more compatible with each other. But alas, it's a Final Fantasy, so uh, here we are, 20 plus years later. What else? Upon rewatching it 20 years later, I did see some of the more subtle um, Easter eggs, homages, themes. Uh, as mentioned earlier by you guys, we have like Gaia, which is the living spirit of the earth. We have Sid, who is a scientist. Uh, we have this villain who almost looks like the hero. They kind of look alike. So it reminds me of like the Squall and Cypher rivalry and whatnot. We have a ragtag party, which is the men of Captain Gray. Uh, what else? We have an airship slash spaceship. We have going to outer space, which was featured in some of the FFs, and of course we have the classic FF romance. But yeah, very very subtle. Was the
No.
movie good? So I've wondered over the years if it's just nostalgia that's making me love the movie. But just like Jose, I am someone who watched Spirits Within, um, throughout the years. But every time I watch it, I don't know. I still enjoy it immensely. I mean, there's something about that story that I like, even though it's confusing, even though it's smack dab in the middle of it. They're at the sixth spirit instead of like the first spirit, but still, I felt something. I don't know. I liked it. Maybe biased because Sakaguchi and whatnot. What else? I think you guys also mentioned this earlier. The cast, spectacular. I think Square has this amazing way of tracking down actors, actresses, both in the Japanese and in the English dubs. And I think that even now, Spirits Within, I like the voice acting. Although I do understand what Joss said earlier that Aki Ross's voice a bit on the monotone side. I don't know. I was actually shocked. I'm gonna refer to the particular scene that Joe mentioned earlier, which was Aki was recounting the spirits that she collected so far, and then when it's on the part about the dying girl in the hospital, she still sounds monotone. But when I rewatched it, I was actually shocked because I kind of heard the crack in her voice. So we have different um, interpretations of that scene. I was actually shocked that her voice actually cracked then. And I actually didn't know beforehand that it was Mulan's voice actress. So I was like, why is her voice so nice? I really like her voice. I was like, maybe she's from a Disney movie. And then I researched and then I said, oh, okay, it's Mulan's voice actress. And then we go ahead. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
JDM.
I mean, who is that girl I see? Anyway.
Oh,
Standing.
back at you.
Okay.
What else? I like this humor. I'm not sure if you guys like the comedy bits of it, but I like the banter between the characters. I forgot the name of
I mean,
the
Steve Buscemi really brought it in, and you
Mm.
know he brought much needed levity into the film.
Yeah.
Yes. Mhm.
even Professor Sid, even though even though he was saying
True.
something in a straight face, I like that. I like that. I'm like, oh, how did they pull that out? And then you guys also mentioned something about the script from English to Japanese and from Japanese back to English. I mean, I'm at least relieved that we have those little comedy segments. I wasn't sure if I was gonna laugh at it 20 years later, but I was laughing. What else? I was very particular about that because to me, the most important segments in an FF game is the part where I see the party members interact with each other, not in a dungeon, but in a whatever setting, like in a more casual setting, resting somewhere, looking for a side quest, whatever. It reminded me of that, and I like that. To me, the cast's what do you call this chemistry is very important, which I saw with the ragtag team here in Spirits Within. Graphics, as you guys mentioned earlier, back in 2001, out of this world. I I think it was only maybe Pixar who was close in terms of graphical fidelity, the quality of animation. I mean, it was Square back then, and even now. I think they're really into pushing graphics to the next level. So Spirits Within really mind blowing. Soundtrack. I like the soundtrack. It's very somber. When I was a kid, I didn't really register the soundtrack that much. But when I rewatched it, when I heard the tunes, I was like, "Oh shit, that brings back memories." And then it gets stuck with me. I'm like, "Oh, there's something there." I like the soundtrack. The two ending themes, "The Dream Within" by Lara Fabian And Spirits Dreams Inside by Lark and Shell are banger songs. I still listen to them after all these years, but I listen more to the song by Lark and Shell because I just get sad with Lara Fabian's song. Did you notice any mentions or Easter eggs connecting it to the game? As you guys mentioned earlier, Gaia, live stream, Meteor, alien life form invading a planet. We have Sid. I think
The
those
laser.
are what I've liked. I wrote here down in my notes, and yeah, I may be one of the few people who like Spirits Within. I don't know if I like it. If, for example, I already played 7, 8, and then I watched Spirits Within. I do understand. Maybe I would be like you guys, like, oh no, where's Cloud? Where's Squall? Where's the summons? Where's the materia? It's sci-fi. It's far from the usual tropes that we have in Final Fantasy. And what was the most sci-fi Final Fantasy that we ever got? Really, I haven't played 12, so I'm not sure. But yeah, I understand you guys'
13.
Yeah,
comments.
13.
Very true. Although one thing I was curious about one thing because I saw that in Spirits Within the year was 2065 and we're already in 2024. So I was wondering, do we already have some of the tech that's in that movie that was made in the turn of the millennium in the 2000s? So just something that I would like to think about. Yeah, I think that's
Heck,
it for me, guys.
Heck, in the 1950s, they projected that we'd have flying cars by 2000. Where are my flying cars? Anyway,
We only have a wasteland in New York,
yeah, that's
but
true.
not but not the hoverboards.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Very true, JD. Very true. All right, good assessment, Miss Yuno. Excellent, and quality assessment was very much worth the wait. Despite the technical difficulties, Miss Hinu brings the quality. Definitely, yes, very very good. Wonderful. All right, sorry, Jose. What do you say about Miss Hinu's assessment? Do you agree with it?
Yeah, like she said, I enjoy the movie. For what it is, I enjoy the movie. I go back to it every so often. It did have those mentions. Like if you looked really hard, it does have those small connections to it. I do want to add because I wonder if it will change anyone's opinion on this.
Go ahead.
Let's see. Where did it say?
For me, if I can interject,
Yeah, go ahead while I look for it.
those references that you guys are talking about, chocobos, sit in the airship, and things like that. As a game, as a moviegoer and as a gamer, if you have to work to look for those references, if you have to dig deep, then it's not fun anymore. It's not a game anymore. It's work, and if I work, I want to get paid for it. Anyway,
I think Wreck-It Ralph did it quite well in terms of the Easter eggs.
Ooh, yeah.
I love Wreck-It Ralph, and then I remember seeing this one graffiti on the wall. It says "Aerith lives."
Yes,
That was good. I think that was a good way to put in some Easter eggs so that the fans would, they wouldn't need to like look into the subtext of the whatever,
Yes.
whatever. Yeah, they
No,
wish we could get more.
Exactly, Miss Hina. The fact is, there's the visual layer. Well, there's the top layer where the regular normie moviegoer would just watch and enjoy it. There's the sub layer where a video gamer would dig deeper into it and then find little treasures, Easter eggs, references, and all that. And there's the deepest layer, which is the philosophical portion, where you have to really dig deep and find the themes and all that. And that if you were some kind of lit major, like the curtains are blue because the writers was depressed during the time that he was writing it. No, I'm not digging that deep into it. I'm not a lit major. I only go to the second layer. Yes, go ahead, Miss.
I forgot. I forgot to mention earlier.
Yes, yes.
One thing that I found intriguing with the characters is that Sid and Aki are both scientists. And it's
Mm,
interesting that Sid is someone who dabbles on the more spiritual realm. He
mm,
believes that there's a life force, the Gaia. I think that was interesting because I don't remember if in the proper FFs if we had someone like that who's more of like a science guy who also believes in the spiritual realm.
mm.
Or maybe
That's
FF10
why
had
it
them
did-
because of
that's why it didn't make sense. God damn it!
All right, Joe can't help himself anymore. But before Joe goes on his reaction, Jose, did you find what you were looking for?
Yes, I did.
Mm,
Okay, so two things, and I'll just read them
mm.
verbatim.
Go ahead, go ahead.
And it says, director Sakaguchi named the main character after his mother Aki, who
Mhm,
died in an accident several years prior to the production of the film.
mhm,
Her death led Sakaguchi to reflect on what happened to the spirit after death, and these
mhm,
thoughts resurfaced while he was planning the film, eventually taking the form of the Gaia hypothesis. He later explained that the theme he wanted to convey was more of a complex idea of life and death and spirit, believing that the best way to portray this would be to set the film on Earth. And then the second part is that in 2011, BioWare art director Derek Watts cited that The Spirits Within was a major influence on Mass Effect.
mm. Okay, there you go. Well, I mean, I no, I can
No, no.
understand.
So if you
Go ahead,
call
go ahead.
this Mass Effect, the spirits within would have
Mhm,
been, it would have been made a lot more sense.
But
mhm.
Mass Effect didn't exist then.
Yeah, but then again, that's
If
anachronistic
Mass Effect,
because
if Mass Effect was a movie,
that's anachronistic, Joe, because Mass Effect came way, way later. But anyway, Joe, I can see you in Filipino terms, parang sinisilihan ka na sa upuan mo. Go ahead, give us your opinion. Go ahead, Joe. I want to hear what your reaction is to everything that's been said so far.
Ash it out.
Okay,
how much time do we still have left?
we have 30 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay. So with Miss Hinu mentioned here, and Sir Jose mentioned, um, looking at this movie, you can pretty much tell how much percentage was Sakaguchi's. Okay. Whatever was left with his original concept, his original story in regarding with the spirits and the whole backstory of why he thought of it that way. Okay. The fantastical, whatever, however, what that may be. Okay. That was Sakaguchi's. Okay. The original concept of the spirits, Gaia, all right, Meteor, these phantoms, most likely that came from him. Okay. The screenplay aspect of it, all right, which involves dialogue and the script. Now, those were handled by the Americans. This is what Sir Joel mentioned. The screenplay who did this was the first guy. I forgot their names, but the first guy, he was involved with iRobot. The other guy was involved with another sci-fi movie, with another sci-fi movie, um, and so with Sakaguchi's fantastical versus the screenplayer's sci-fi background, it's already been so you can pretty much tell it's clashing already. Okay, Squaresoft wanted this. Okay, Squaresoft wanted Sakaguchi to helm this because he's the father of Final Fantasy being our flagship franchise. All right, Final Fantasy VII is such a big hit. Let's take advantage of this success that we're getting. We'll get Sakaguchi. He has the magic touch. Okay, Sakaguchi, being the RPG guy that he is, hours and hours of gameplay, of story and lore. Square said, you know what? Maybe put it like a 2 hour or maybe 1 hour, 1 hour and a half. Can you make it that way because it's costing us way too much already? So condense that into a 1 hour. Hey, 1 hour 45 minutes. 1 hour and 45 minutes. Condense that, okay? Because it's already costing Square too much. And then you got Sony, okay? They're like, are those the character concept? Are those the character designs? We don't think the anime spiky-haired boys with the nonsensical swords might be a little bit too much of a stretch for the normies. We don't want to scare the normies. Yada yada yada. God forbid. We don't want to scare off the normal casual moviegoers by showing them this anime-looking people. Okay, make it a little bit more westernized. Okay. Show more guns and titties. All right.
Which brings us to
right?
the.
Stop me if I'm wrong. Okay. Show more guns, more violence, less swords. Okay.
Oh, what movie was that, Jose? With Zack Snyder about the girls in the insane asylum. I forgot, with Vanessa Hudgens and I forgot with.
Guys,
Anyway.
Say hi to Ghost. This is Lucy's daughter.
Hello,
hello.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see her face because she's a ghost.
Oh yeah.
Bye-bye.
So where were we? Oh, okay. So here we are already. Okay. Proof of concept. Okay. We got a proof of concept. Okay. Sure. We don't have enough people to work on this movie. So what do? How about we buy a studio in Hawaii? Okay, and then we'll hire like 200 plus people to work on this, because God forbid, it's already 1998, 1999. We haven't really released another Final Fantasy. We will have our main team will work on Final Fantasy 8, and then those guys will handle Final Fantasy Spirits with the Final Fantasy movie. Okay. 4 years. 4 years since their initial concept, still nothing. So they got 200 people already in Hawaii doing nothing for 4 years. The studio alone costed them like what, almost $47 million already just to buy that freaking studio. Okay, for 4 years doing nothing. Let's talk about the character design. Have you ever noticed that Aki is the only one with the flowing hair? Because God forbid, calculating the frame rate, doing the pixels for that hair will also cost them that much. Everybody else, all of them are all brushed up like this. Correct me if I'm wrong, motherfuckers. Tell me if I'm wrong. General Hines, Sid, bald.
No, but Sid had the beard, which is impressive.
Which is very stationary.
Yeah.
Okay. The girl, she was pretty much ponytailed up, but her hair is pretty much brushed up. Okay. Steve Buscemi's character, all brushed up, all gelled up. Alec Baldwin's character, same thing. General Hines, same thing. Even the adjutants, same thing. Everybody else, all the scrubs, all helmets. Aki is the only one with the flowing hair, and that hair, it costs money. Okay. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Still hot. Oh, you're not wrong. She's hot.
Okay.
She's hot.
No, that's beside the point. What I'm saying here is that it's already costing way too much money. Overall, the overall budget here. Toss me a number. How much do you think they spent? Toss me a number. Overall.
100 something, 147.
Yeah, probably 100 million, probably. Mm-hmm.
Almost 178 million.
Holy guacamole.
USD JPY.
I'm not sure which Sarose is. Sarose could probably double check on this. If Sarose can check Box Office Mojo, I think the US domestic return for Spirits Within is only 11 million. Almost 87 million worldwide.
For the US.
So it's still a belly flop for them.
Yeah, during its opening weekend, it only made 11.4 million, and at the end in North America, ended up doing 32 million.
right? With an overall budget of over 177 million. That includes the studio that they got in Honolulu.
Yeah,
So what's the
ouch.
story here, right?
Mhm.
So what's the aftermath here? They were so Square was basically negotiating a merger with Enix. When this flopped, basically it scared Enix. Oh fuck! Well, we don't want to merge with you guys anymore, considering that you almost bankrupt yourself with Spirits Within. Okay, if it wasn't for Sony bailing out Square and the release of Final Fantasy X and Kingdom Hearts, it regained the confidence back so that Enix agreed with the merger with Square. That's why around the mid 2000s, the merger did happen eventually. Okay, but being the Japanese company that Square is, someone has to take responsibility, even if it's unfair to the if it's unfair to the person outside looking in. They had to blame Sakaguchi for the whole mess. Sakaguchi took the fall for this. That's why he decided to leave Square with saying Spirits Within was a big factor on his departure from Square. That's why after Final Fantasy X, the Final Fantasy games that we got now after 10 was pretty shaky to say the least, you know. And then Sakaguchi created his own studio, Miss Walker, which brought us Lost Odyssey, Blue Dragon, The Last Story, you know, to name a few. Okay. Speaking of the music, so I checked the credits. Nobuo Uematsu is not even in this. All right. It was a Western composer. Okay. And props to Miss Hino for saying Laria Fabian. Sure. But it ain't Eyes on Me. It ain't Melodies of Life. It ain't Aries theme. You know what I mean? Like
Hey, we got
there's
Lark and Shell. We
there's
got Lark and Shell. That's something. We got Lark and
no,
Shell.
what I'm saying is there's no theme music that would associate me with Spirits Within. Like yeah, sure, you got your Lara Fabian, sure,
Well, there's
but
that ending song that that made you so depressed at the end that you left the theater just saying, "What the
yeah,
hell?"
It was just
because
two soundtracks, right?
Yeah.
yeah. So what I'm saying here is that you got you got the restrictions casted on Sakaguchi. You got Square meddling as well because it's costing them way too much money. You got the producers meddling as well on what the character designs would be. Principal photography being the delays that it caused, and then the overall production. There's a bunch of drama in regarding with Spirits Within. So to me, the backstage drama is more interesting than the movie itself. Really. Okay. And yeah. So it's just that if it's a weird situation, like if they stuck with like an actual Final Fantasy thematic script, at least you would still pander to the fans. At least the fans will approve of it. Versus playing it safe, catering to a wider general audience, but in return you're gonna alienate the fans of your franchise. Not to mention the casual moviegoers thinking
Mhm.
that this would be just a generic sci-fi movie.
Look,
But
let me interject this, Joe. I've always said this. Give us fan service, because if you're not servicing the
well,
fans, who are you servicing?
there was no fan service at all in this. The only
Mhm.
fan service that I can probably tell was the FHM cover that Sir Jose showed us back in the group chat,
Thank you for
where
sharing that. That made my
Atroth
day.
was in the
With the
right.
bikini,
So
the two
yeah,
piece.
because the original plan was what they're planning was um, they want to make Aki Ross to be the next Lara Croft, where Lara Croft will just show in different kinds of media. So
Like a
that was
template.
that was the plan for Aki. By popping up in other sorts of media, at least you will give more association towards the towards the Spirits Within
They don't need
movie,
Lara
and by
Croft anymore. They have Tifa.
right? Heck, okay.
They have
All right. In by context, Lara Croft's boobs in the original PlayStation 1 is like 3 polygons only. Okay. How many polygons do you think just to render Aki Ross's hair? Like exponentially a lot more. All right.
And Lara
So,
Croft's
yeah.
renders are much more exciting to us men. Anyway.
I think one example where they used the template of Akiros is in the Animatrix movie. They showed a model of Akiros with a shorter hair fighting a sentinel, like a sentinel machine in the in the Matrix. He did a somersault and then this dramatic landing a pose. Then she started fighting this giant machine robot.
She was not
and
even included as a DLC in the Final Fantasy Duodecim. Not even in the theater rhythm. Not even there. Sir, I should know this.
Actually, you're right, Joe. It's like she became a forgotten character.
What
through
is
that
she
game.
gonna do if she fights in this ninja? Jesus Christ.
But she ain't doing shit. Right?
she just do this.
Mhm. Well, the thing about it, Jose. Let me clarify one thing here. Since you've seen the film a dozen times, so basically, the Eighth Spirit. Am I remembering that correctly? The very last one was realized when the evil spirits went all Urotsuki Doji on Aki and discovered that one part of her that produces life. Is that right? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is how the Eighth Spirit was realized and how life was brought back. Essentially, hope, life, and recovery to all the anger and resentment that the evil spirits had. That life can begin again, which kind of implies that the Aki's and I forgot the main character, the other Gray's character,
Gray.
having done the deed has produced life inside of Aki, which
Oh, Jesus Christ, what are you saying? I'm having a meltdown. I'm having a meltdown. What are you saying?
Am I
All this-
understanding that correctly?
Right.
Yes, Miss Ida, why?
All of you guys, okay. This was after when when the party almost got so all of them got annihilated. Okay.
Yes,
So it was
Miss
only
Ida, what
Gray
is it? It looks
did-
like Miss Ida just had a
So,
realization right there.
So,
Go ahead, Miss Ida.
so it was only Gray, Aki, and Dr. Sid were the only ones who survived the attack, right? The infiltration. Okay. So Gray was all bummed out. Oh my god, my party's dead.
Mhm.
What to do now? Okay, space fuck. Okay.
Yes.
So he went straight to Aki. Okay, and then they made out.
Zero
Okay, and
G.
then-
Remember that. Zero G.
Okay, in 0G, mind you, and then it faded to black. How would we know? I mean, we didn't know they
That
must have
was-
just cut that. Okay,
That was a
It
reverse
should-
Mass Effect.
should have been a
The
2 hour
final battle
movie.
happened.
No. It should have been a 2 hour movie if they decided to include the space fucking right then and there.
I'm interested in Miss Hino's reaction. I think it looks like Miss Hino just made a realization. Let us know, Miss Hino.
No, I'm having a meltdown right now. Guys.
Why?
No, I never even thought of it that way. The
Mhm.
new life, and then something happening, and then wait, I can't. What
No,
are
no,
these?
no. Sir Joel's point, it was just all implied.
Mhm, yes. Mhm.
No, but that's gonna make sense, and I think it's nice since we're talking about loss of life and then the birth of new life. I think that would make sense.
I don't think it should
I'm
make
sorry.
sense because all of this happening because all of this just happened in a matter of within 24 hours.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, uh, and I know medicine. Okay, I don't think I don't think zygotes develop that fast.
Well,
I
how
agree
fast?
with you.
Quick question, Joe. When does the quickening happen?
Quickening.
Yes, at 1 month.
Quickening. Quickening is the term that we use when the baby first moves inside the inside the belly.
I
5
see. I
months.
see. Okay.
I thought
But
it was
when-
the Highlander.
But when, yeah, well, I mean, yeah, that's the term. That's the term when it happens. But when the egg merges with the sperm, is that technically life already?
So your conception would happen definitely on the first 24 hours, but it won't. But it won't generate like a complete heartbeat.
But it is a unique life already, the way it is, right?
It is, but not within the first 24 hours. No.
Not within the 24 hours.
Guys,
Well,
this
you
is
know,
This is Final Fantasy and sci-fi, so maybe there's a different
yeah, logic.
mechanics.
That's fine.
Yeah,
That's
the
final.
theory.
I mean, that's what I'm taking away from it. Jose, would you agree with my guess on this one?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. You know, look at
If they okay, if they explain,
literally
right?
broke here.
No.
Are you guys laughing at me? I need that word.
If they explained, if
No,
they
no,
explained
that
oh,
reaction has to be clipped. That reaction has
no.
to be clipped
Okay.
earlier.
so this is the part where we're going to discuss like headcanon, right? So if Dr. Sid was able to scan Aki, I noticed there's another life form inside that ship. Ship meaning that lander that they were in, right? I can sense another spirit inside your ship. And then no, it's just me and Gray. No, the other one is inside of you. Then that would imply that they did the dirty deed, that they did the space mission.
Wait. I might
Right.
forget.
There's a spirit
Was
within
to be
you.
pregnant.
Titan
And
drop.
then and then the said baby was said to be the eighth spirit. No, right? No,
hate
if
my
you did it like that, okay. And I'm not even talking about actual space fucking here. What I'm saying is, if they really did consummate their relationship, that would have been. I would have accepted if Dr. Sid mentioned that the new life that inside of Aki that's the eighth spirit because it's Aki because she has a phantom contained inside of herself had in contact with the said conceptualized baby, then that in turn became the eighth spirit. If they would have, I would have accepted something like that, but no, it's just there. Again,
like JDM says, it could work on different mechanics and logic. And for the purposes of the movie, let's just accept it as is. Okay. So there. So
Final
yeah.
Fantasy.
Yeah, and it's a Final Fantasy movie. So, by that logic, it would make sense the way that things go, the annihilation of life, the creation of new life, like Miss Hinu says, it would tie it all together. And I guess and yeah, like Reiki says, oh, there's a spirit,
within Aki.
I mean,
right?
yeah, that would put it all together, I guess. You stop and think about it, and yeah, I guess tortured as the logic might be, somehow it would tie it all together. So yeah. All right, so that was Joe's rant, and
I think we've learned a valuable lesson from here. 20 years before they made this movie, they didn't really pander to their fans. They alienated their fans. No pun intended.
Yeah.
Alienated.
Okay. Yes.
And here, years after, we're getting tons of spin-offs, like Lord of the Rings spin-offs. We have the what was that? Was it Bioshock? Which one was the best adaptation? That one?
Are you talking about the Hogwarts Legacy or
No. The one on Game Awards recently, the
Oh,
best
Fallout?
game adaptation,
Fallout?
Fallout.
Yes.
That pandered to the fans. So I'm like, yeah, but at this point, after 20 years, the creators, the studios, the higher ups, whatever, should have already realized that. I guess the best way to approach this is just to pander to the core fan base. Why alienate them? This is why we have 3 Sonic movies. 3?
Yes,
2.
we're at 3
Right?
already. It's come through. This coming. Yes.
They're pandering to the fans, and I think the rest of the people just go watch, since it's also a good movie, regardless if they're a fan or not. We also have the House of the Dragon. Not everyone's a fan of Game of Thrones, but since it's a good story, people are still gonna tune in. So
Not until
I
season
hope
8.
that
When they
You're
stop
forgetting.
giving a fuck.
You're forgetting
Yeah.
The Last of Us HBO series.
Yes.
Yeah.
and to that extent, we also have One Piece. The One Piece adaptation, very good.
You know someone who didn't follow
Yes,
Capcom
JD. Capcom. Yes. Why?
with Resident
Resident
Evil.
Evil.
Resident Evil. Yeah,
They
that's
still
true.
don't know the homework.
That's true.
After-
Although, go ahead, JDM. Finish your point.
Yakuza.
No. Miss Hinu makes a really good point. Studios have realized that if you pander to the fans, they will bring in new fans. But if you make a show that tries to bring in new fans and spits in the face of the original fans, then you bring in nobody. Plain and simple. It's the fact is, if you pander to the fans, they will bring their friends, they will bring their family, they will see the enthusiasm, they will enjoy it. That will bring in the new fans. Even the people who watch The Last of Us, the HBO series, said, "Where have you guys been hiding this good stuff all this time? You mean there's great storylines?"
That was the MCU playbook before.
Yeah, exactly.
For Marvel.
So that was Miss Hinu's point, and I completely agree with it. Yes. There you go. All right, show captain, what do you say?
You brought up the whole her getting pregnant thing, and I was like, I'm gonna look this up and see if I
Research guy.
Research guy. Okay. But that's perfectly fine. That's valid.
Would have been a lot more sense.
I found
if they ended the movie with that notion, but no.
Oh, go ahead.
I found this old blog post from 2003.
Okay.
And the guy says that he rewatched the movie with the audio commentary on, and he writes out these little notes that he has, and he says when Aki has the final dream sequence, she sees the phantom particles in her body rip out and turn into a full-grown phantom, and attacks her, but with the tentacles pierce her belly, it turns blue and dissipates. Aki says the hope of new life cured the phantom within. Says now, although this is no longer the
it's not new life exactly, the hope of new life.
Yeah.
Okay.
It says now that although this is no longer the only interpretation you can have of the finale, the point is that this is all actually meant to convey that Aki is pregnant with Gray's child. The baby is the 8th spirit required for the spirit wave. She then touches her breastplate and sees that her infection has been cured.
Look at Joe. This show is going to be golden when it comes to facial reactions. Anyway, go ahead, Jose.
This is because earlier in the movie, we saw the infection spreading behind the barrier they made for it. Once it did that, it touched her womb and was cured by the completed spirit wave in her body. It says Aki hooks a plug into her breastplate and sends a signal to Sid, who looks astonished and says, yes, I understand now. Again, he just realized that Aki is pregnant with the 8th spirit. Says for those
then
of you
why not just say no in the first place?
What was that, Joe?
So for those of you wondering, Aki has been
Why
pregnant.
not just say that in the first place?
She's been pregnant for a few months, ever since she last saw Gray before running out on him and running back into him in the movie's opening. So some people It
No,
says
wait,
some
wait, wait, wait.
people.
No. Did Gray say how long was it?
He
that
did not
before
say how long.
He did not say how long Aki stepped out. Okay, anyway.
Yeah. And it says some people apparently thought she got pregnant during the kissing scene in space, but no, they didn't have zero G sex. It says one of the director's right-hand men asked him if this was the case, and the director dismissed it and said that even if she could have gotten pregnant the night before, it wouldn't have registered as a spirit at this point anyway.
No.
The implication is that Aki must have been pregnant long enough to have somewhat developed child form in her womb, but not long enough to be physically showing her pregnancy.
See? So that's what I'm talking about. So
Okay, that
because
makes
they
more
worked
sense.
because they worked together before she ran out. Okay. Before she ran out to do her mission, they were still together. It happened off screen. Okay, they were doing the nasty off screen.
No, but that does not satisfy your medical requirement, Joe.
No. If they did a little bit, if they fleshed out on that part a little bit more, because on the movie they were just spatting, because they're trying to blame each other who left who. Okay, it was just like it was just like a normal ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, just trying to rekindle their old flame, but at the same time meeting each other again after they didn't mention for how long was it really, because that's the thing, they didn't specify the time frame of their breakup.
That's true.
Like or like what do we call it, like a temporary separation. What do you call that?
A cooling off period.
A cool off period, right? They didn't mention how long,
Time out.
right? Or an out. Okay,
Hang on.
it's not like
Hang on.
like Ross and Rachel kind of thing.
Oh yes. Miss
Okay.
Miss Hiro is about to say something. Go ahead.
But I think what I find weird is that when Grace said that you haven't changed at all, I think that's something weird to say if you only haven't seen each other for just a short period of time, a few months. It's normally what you would say to a person you haven't seen for years.
That's true.
Just something that I go
That's
ahead.
a little bit of an inconsistency on
How
that
about
one.
this? If the first minute of the movie started out with Aki and Gray on the bed, waking up after a night long of passion.
My dad would take us out of the theater if that.
If we opened the movie the morning after, at least that would have implied that they slept with each
Or
other, right?
even Gray alone in bed, looking to the side, seeing an empty space.
Yeah.
That would
or maybe like he's naked under the covers, and then he sees no one.
That would.
And then he sees, and then the camera will pan to a picture of him and Aki together. So that would imply that he woke up. So they did the nasty the night before. He woke up the
Yo, we
morning
have
after.
AI now. We have AI now.
So what you're saying, Miss Hiro, is that somebody should make that scene and insert it into the movie. Okay, that would improve it. Yes.
No, but back then, wouldn't it?
That would explain, because that would explain the pregnancy at least.
Yes, JDM, you were about to say.
Wouldn't that like expand the total runtime of the movie? Then
No,
thus
make
it will.
the scene 5 seconds. 5 seconds of Gray waking up and like a prelude to the entire movie. Gray waking up in bed, looking to the side, empty space, and a picture of them.
And then the credits are
I'll do you
flashing
one
on the
better.
5 seconds.
So-
5 seconds.
So Aki's dream sequences, take one of those out.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Those dream sequences do
They are very repetitive and they're
The
very
recurring, the
Yeah.
recurring.
I think there were how many dream sequences? About 4 or
4.
5 of them. Take one of them out, replace it with 5 seconds of that. It would make the entire thing make sense already. Yes.
I would also love it if they cut down the number of
We are making a better
spirits.
movie now, guys.
Yes,
Because-
Miss Ina, you were saying.
It's sad that they didn't include the girl who was dying at the hospital. I think that would have been better if she was included
Yeah,
In
they should have
that-
flashed back
in
to
that
that.
search.
That's true. That's true.
No, Or maybe have it like 4 spirits, 3 spirits, and then have the girl be one of them as like the climax of whatever in their journey. And I think that would be better.
All right, puzzle solved. Final Fantasy Spirits Within
No,
makes
not
sense
really.
now. Okay.
Okay, right. How about this? How about this headcanon? The reason why she hasn't really moved that far with Grace because she has the thing inside her contained,
Yes.
and she's a little bit afraid that doing a little bit more physical activity with Gray would somehow affect them both. That's why up to that point she hasn't really moved that far with Gray. So up to that point, nothing has happened between them yet. Because she's afraid that if she got too intimate with Gray, the thing inside might, might get away and infect them both.
The
doing
chest
gymnastics.
burster. Okay, the chest burster would go. Okay.
Yeah, because while doing the nasty, because the chest plate and all that.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
So it's still not solved though.
It's still not whole. I mean, there's still a lot of holes, plot holes, and everything. But yes, Jose, go ahead.
I'm looking at the novelization on Amazon. It's only $7.
Okay.
I think
You
for everyone here, I'm gonna spring for it, and I'm gonna read it.
No, Ricky's right.
I
Ricky's
wanna
right.
read it
Or how about this? Okay.
And I'll let you guys know.
How about this? How about on the first 5 seconds of the movie? Aki was like this.
Well, yeah. First 5 seconds. That's it. Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, yeah.
Right?
That would make the whole thing.
Someone
just her holding up a plan B.
Photoshop Aki's hair on the Sergio.
Right? So she's
Look at
holding.
this, you know.
So she's holding a pregnancy test. Like looks at the camera, and then we see the 2 lines on the pregnancy test. Okay, that explains that she's pregnant. So the question now, in the first 10 seconds of the movie, who's the father? And then eventually we'll get introduced with Gray. Boom.
And then Gray says,
then eventually
"No,
we'll have
I am your father." Okay.
court-
Anyway.
court
I am your
TV.
father. No, Ricky's
Yes,
right.
Miss Ina, go ahead.
I just changed my the description below
Ah,
my
Release
yeah.
this with an uncut.
I mean,
Final Fantasy Spirits
with-
within
with-
fan fiction.
with AI, like Miss Hinu says, insert extra scenes that would make the entire movie make sense. It might work.
Yeah. That's why they have the if you buy the DVD, like the original one, you have those like extra scenes, like alternate
That's true.
endings. They could have made that in the reissue, right?
Yeah,
Make
that's
it
true.
much more sense.
They could do the thing they did with Advent Children, because how there's Advent Children
Mm.
and then
Yeah.
Advent Children Complete.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. All right. Don't bother Jose because he's buying the book now. Anyway, so I think it's. Yes.
Wait,
Messina,
What
you're-
Jose did, reading the director's commentary, only made me angry.
So this
Messina,
is
you're saying.
Well, Virage
First of all,
isn't here,
I
so
would-
we have to make someone angry.
Oh, sorry. Miss Hinu saying something. Sorry. What was that, Miss Hinu?
No, I also want to buy the novel. And secondly, it's funny. In Spirits Within, we are lacking so much in context, in material,
Mhm.
to
Material.
fully understand the whole picture. And then, on the other hand, on the other side of the spectrum, we have FF15,
Mhm.
who has overabundance of material.
That's true.
We have the
That's
anime, we have
Mhm.
Kingsglaive, we have
Mhm.
novels,
Mhm.
the side novels of the characters, and then we have the game itself, and I think there was a more complete version. But
Mhm.
still, we do not understand anything.
Mhm.
So I'm like, which of the two do you think would you pick over each other? I'm just curious.
Well, that's true. The thing about it is the way that we've done it in this episode here in Timeless Gamer, we've made a game of making sense of Final Fantasy Spirits Within, and I think we've generally succeeded in it. Sure, Joe might have objections to it, but yeah, I think as a movie now, it makes much more sense to me. It's acceptable to me.
It's still off the hook, not off the hook.
All right, show captain, bring it home. Go ahead.
They cannot even make the square pictures logo right. It's a rectangle.
Well,
It's not even a square.
Go ahead, Jose. Bring it home.
Okay, so for those of us who did own the DVD, there was an extra little thing in there. Sir JDM might know what I'm talking about since he owns the DVD. I don't know if you guys know it, but did you guys see the Thriller scene with the
No, I haven't.
characters?
I've heard of it. Yes.
Yes. Watch. I will post a link, and then you can play the silent version. Where'd it go?
No.
Here.
For
we got
those
it.
of you.
Okay.
Okay. There you go. Anyway, yes. Go ahead, Jose.
Maybe that'll fix the movie for Sergio.
What? That?
Okay.
Yes, this maybe. I don't know. Maybe it'll be worth it. Just imagine Thrillers are going to start playing.
Well, that's the thing. It has also been neglected to mention that Ving Rhames did a good job here, and of course the ever reliable Keith David. No matter how small his role is, you can still very much recognize his voice, and I'd still give him props for it too. All right, there you go. So we have the Thriller scene as shown here in the video aspect of Timeless Gamers Show. So you guys may want to check that out also on the links that we will post along with the show. But yes, so as Jose would say, this is basically I guess Jose would probably say this is what brings the whole thing home. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Take it to final words. We'll reserve the final word for show captain. Go ahead, Jose.
So Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within. A lot of mixed opinions here. I mean, Miss Hinu, good movie. We like it. You guys, it's serviceable science fiction wise. Sergio, get that shit out of here. No. Or like he would say, "Ain't nobody got time for this movie."
Yeah. No.
Someone has to say it.
No, here. Let me interject one last opinion. Pieces of art born of tragedy can go either way. They can be shining examples of brilliance, like Sting's The Soul Cages. If you listen to the Soul Cages album by Sting, it was born because the album was born because his father had passed away, and he wrote that album. You listen to that album from beginning to end; it is absolutely brilliant. Like I'm putting that out there. I've always been a Sting fan. You listen to that album. I personally think that is the pinnacle of his music career. But Spirits Within, having been born of tragedy of the Sakaguchi's memories of his mother passing away, and that it comes off as a muddled mess initially, but with what we've done here, I think it makes it palatable at least. Okay.
I think the movie was probably very cathartic for him. But we collectively, along with the power of the internet, have made sense of this movie. It is complete now.
Joss Brown says otherwise.
So if they're ever going to remake this movie, come to us. We have all the answers.
Yes. And we'll take a small payment. $100 million will be acceptable.
Yeah.
Joe, take it home. Go ahead.
Okay, so we'll just do our quick break. A few messages from BitMap and Streamyard before we head out with our shameless plugs.
Yes.
So take it away, Streamyard and BitMap.
Start your own online live streams, webinars, podcasts, online classes, and virtual presentations with Streamyard. By using Streamyard's user-friendly interface, you can also do simultaneous multi-streaming if you have accounts to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and other platforms. If live streaming is not your style, video and audio recordings are also available especially with those who have variable and inconsistent internet connections. The finished output will still come out as clear and well articulated exactly as you originally intended. You can also customize the appearance of your presentation, like green screen effects, facial touch-ups to smoothen out those facial blemishes, multiple cameras for multiple guests joining in the discussion, your own wallpaper on the background, adding your own logo as a watermark, sharing videos from your own computer or other website for added visual aids with or without audio, uploading your own background music if you wish to set the mood when talking, and lots more. Before you can enjoy all of the wonderful full features of StreamYard, you can start with a 14-day free trial by using our link. Not only that you are supporting the Timeless Gamer Show, but you can see it for yourself how easy it is using StreamYard. Do you like playing video games? Do you like reading about history? Do you like learning about video game history? Then you should give yourself the gift of owning some video game history books from BitMap. Since 2014, BitMap Books have published numerous colorful and well-detailed hardbound books about video games ranging from the different video game consoles of old and the various video game genres that will surely pique the interest of its core fanbase. BitMap's team of global video game journalists, players, and illustrators have produced numerous award-winning titles that celebrate the software, hardware, and developers that laid down the foundations for the billion-dollar video game industry we all know and love today. International shipping is also available with careful and considerate packaging from BitMap Books. If you don't want to take my word for it, then you can believe the people, almost 10,000 satisfied customers who submitted their glowing written reviews and video reviews after receiving their books from BitMap. By ordering your first BitMap book using our link, you will also be supporting the Timeless Gamers Show in spreading our love of video games and their rich history.
Thank you for that disembodied voice. Now let's do our shameless plugs. How about Sir JDM? Where can they find you?
Okay, so before I do my shameless plugs, just like a small closing remark. So I think aside from solving this movie ending stuff, I think we made a new segment that we could have in the show. I name
Make
it
it make
Sir Jose.
sense.
Yeah, we did that, and also another segment which is entitled "Sir Jose will buy it, so you don't have to." and also, so we can have some more information, right? So without like chipping in something, and then I think this the Gaia this meteor is like a metaphor of um
Of a
what they call
Refantasio?
this
What? Okay.
no of Sakaguchi
I should have
finding
won Game of the
himself
Year.
Yes, agreed. Anyway, Sakaguchi's what? JDM.
like departure from the from Square, where he found another team with together with Akira Toriyama and to make Mistwalker. Then he became like the Earth Gaia. I mean, this Phantom. It became like healed. It also healed him and started him to make some more games, which is not Final Fantasy. I guess I think that's a map. So me, 123 Go Retro on Facebook and Twitch and YouTube. I won't be doing live streams, but expect some other gaming related content, and just watch us in the Timeless Gamer Show.
All right. Thank you for that, Sir JDM. And of course, Miss Hino.
Um, Thank you guys and to our viewers and listeners for having patience with me. Apologies to the
Mhm.
inactiveness and the
Yeah.
the bad signal on my end, but I'm really glad, and I would like to thank the rest of the panel for actually moving this episode because like it was supposed to happen last week, but then I was on a different trip, so yeah, I'm glad to be in this episode. And even though us in the panel have different opinions regarding the movie, I still, at the end of the day, we're still discussing a movie that
Mhm.
I really love. So it was
Mhm.
nice reminiscing about Spirits with it. Now for shameless plugs, everything from YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and X/Twitter at Hinotora. You can find me there. I haven't been posting any reviews lately, but I recently finished Hotel Dusk, so hopefully I can post a review somewhere. So yeah, thank you and see you guys next time. Back to you guys.
All right. Thank you for that, Miss Hino. And Sir Joel.
All right. Okay. So, first things first. This show, personally speaking, has turned out to be one of the more fun episodes that we've had because of the interactions, because of all the clippable moments. I love everybody's facial expressions, especially Miss Hino and Joe's reactions. Those definitely will be clipped. We will show them here on the Timeless Gamers Show podcast channel and all every place that you can find Timeless Gamers Show. All right. Closing remarks. I would say I have kind of moved my opinion of this movie a little bit. My initial adjectives of this movie was it was long, it was vague, it was incomprehensible, it was obtuse and pretentious. Now, because of our discussion here, it has shifted a little bit more to the middle. It's still an absolute mess, but I do appreciate more now. And it just brings home the fact that because of our community, because of our friends, because of the people that we love and hang around with, it makes everything so much better. All no matter how bad it is, if you have it with your buddies, it somehow turns out to be much more fun. So, again, this is Joel. I stream on my channels in Cake on Twitch, hashtag FUFB, and I am now forming a new channel on this brand new platform called Rumble.com. You can find me there. It is uncharted territory. There's a brand new audience to tap. We want to spread the word of timeless gamers and retro gaming at rumble.com. So just type in Banyagang Native on rumble.com. You'll find me there streaming a new set of retro games and modern games as well, because we want to spread the joy of gaming to everybody. Back to you, John.
All right. Thank you for that, Sir Joel. And of course, the show captain for tonight, Sir Jose. Where can they find you?
Well, like everyone else, something really quick. I think we need to stop expecting so much from things, because especially with Square, we expected so much with the movie. No, we expect so much with our games from them. No, especially when they announced that they were making a Marvel game. I remember the internet exploding and being like, "Oh, we're gonna get a Final Fantasy Marvel game." No, so just disappointments all around. But you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Dark Gothic Fate. I keep saying I'm going to stream, and I haven't. Maybe I'll join Sir Joel and jump on Rumble, because it looks like a fun place.
Yes.
But I hope to get back. But you guys can find me there. And that's it for me.
All right. Thank you for that, Sir Jose. And for all of you guys who are curious on what's the content of that box behind him, check out next episode and you'll find out.
It's nothing. It's nothing interesting. It's a
Okay.
Christmas present.
Back to my point earlier. So the screenplay who went along with Hironobu Sakaguchi was Al Reinert and Jeff Vintar. So Al Reinert's credited for Apollo 13, and Jeff Vintar is accredited for iRobot. So This is the fantastical side of Hironobu Sakaguchi versus the sci-fi elements of Reinhardt and and Mr. Vintar. So yeah, that's the Final Fantasy Spirits Within movie review / discussion, guys. And thank you all so much for staying with us for this long. Rake you, especially you, brother. Thank you, and Sir Viraj, hanging in the chat. Clark, and of course, Sir Siebert, dishing out their opinions as well about the topic. And we'll see you again next time.
Let's not forget saying hi to Derek. Thanks so much,
and
Derek,
of course,
for
for Derek. Of course. Hi, Sir Derek. Retro Gaming Time, Sir Derek Ponay. And I think I'm not sure if the panel still has enough time for next week, because that would be our season 12 finale. Okay, before we end the year, which is the computer role-playing games. Should have been last week, but we got an emergency going on, so we chose to move it for next week. So hopefully the crew still has a few members still available, not still not busy with the Christmas break and all that. So we'll see you there next time. And as always, our games and our bodies may grow out of date, but our gaming experiences will forever remain. Hey,
timeless. All right. See you guys again next week. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. God bless. Bye.